Добрий день, я вітаю всіх, хто
Hello, everybody. We are continuing our work, and our second session is about agrarian sphere. Our speaker today is Denis Marchuk. He's deputy head of the All-Ukrainian Agrarian Council. Let's talk about the start of 2025. What are the challenges for our agrarian sector? What's the agenda? And let's talk in detail after this. Well, the biggest challenge is, of course, the war, because combat actions are the reason for not being able to cultivate something like 20% of our lands. And of course, another issue is release from mobilization. We understand that mobilization is necessary, and people from rural areas have been mobilized among the first. However, of course, some of the enterprises have the right for release of up to 50% of their workers from the military service. In December, there was a cyber attack on the register of the enterprises of Ukraine, which affected some of agrarian enterprises. And from 19 December to 20 January, people could not be relieved of their mobilization duty, so the All-Ukrainian Agrarian Council addressed the Cabinet of Ministers in order to continue the term during which the release from mobilization can be documented, so the people who have to count on their workers have to be convinced, have to be sure that those workers will be on their fields. Otherwise, this will result in not timely agrarian work. And in 2024, we were able to earn $24.7 billion as a result of the export of agricultural produce. We have to understand this, that this will affect badly our hard currency earnings. You told us about workers. What about the money? As always, money is short in supply. It's understood because during the war, our expenses grow and spendings grow, and in this season the cost of agricultural work is going to be something like 15% higher, because there's an excise duty for oil and lubricants. And although there was a provision that for 3 months after the adoption of that law, there will be another law which will decrease the excise and duties on lubricants and oil for 50%. However, it is still not there. We have to understand that the spending for lubricants and oil will rise by 5.5 billion hryvnia, and the growth of excise is going to take place until 2028. And the cost of this excise is now such that it is bound to impact on the prices. So it is very important to have financial support as in the form of loans, because the 579 program is an additional means of saving and relaunch loans, retake loans. However, this program is coming to its end in March, but it is important that it continue. Then of course, the USAID issue is going to influence negatively the Ukrainian small and medium-sized business. They used that money to buy seeds and oil, fuel, and so on, while the medium-sized business were using this money to modernize their production. I know cases in Ukraine when, for instance, people had to buy equipment worth tens of millions of hryvnia, and people were buying it in the hope that they will be able to compensate this at the expense of grants. However, now they are in very dire straits. And of course, it is important that during the negotiations about the possible end to the war, we have to take this into account and to raise the issue of resuming grant financing. Do we understand, as far as percentage, for instance, is concerned, how critical was the stoppage of American grant support? I do not have statistics, but I can tell you that quite a number of such programs, like payments for fertilizers, for seeds, were very important, especially on the deoccupied territories of Ukraine, because they were getting some storage facilities, and now they do not have any other source of help. As far as the spring sowing campaign is concerned, can we say that it will start earlier, taking into account the weather? Or is everything going according to the plan? Yes, we have a very abnormally warm winter, and many agrarians started their works in January. In the south of Ukraine, they started to sow some niche cultures, and where the temperatures above 0 centigrade are now present, they have already started and continuing their work. However, the weather conditions have not only given them an opportunity to start sowing campaign earlier, but the rodents have also appeared because of the warm weather. But if we have a look at the entire territory of Ukraine, then I would say that our sowing campaign is in a satisfactory condition. The cultures are usual. It's maize, sunflower. I would not expect any global changes in this sowing campaign. What about the prices? In 2024-25, as far as the prices for raw materials is concerned, this is the best year since the full-scale invasion started. However, to be quite frank, the dry weather led to the loss of cultures in not only in Europe but on other continents, and of course this led to the rise of prices for grain and sunflower oil, and this was the first year when we did not have losses in this respect. However, this year is quite another thing, because the old commodities are running out and the new ones have not appeared yet. What about the rates of export now? The rates are not bad. In fact, actually, in this marketing year, 24-25, we have unloaded something like 65% of the plant grain exports, something like 55% of maize export. These are better indicators than last season. However, it will decrease slightly from month to month because the supply in Ukraine is not going to rise dramatically. So I think that this year we will see rather good prices. Ukraine will keep to its obligations as far as export obligations are concerned. And if the weather is going to be favorable, I think that we will be able to earn 37 or even more billion dollars. Now the export amounts to something like 5 million tons. Any questions from the audience? Please join our conversation. No questions. However, when we were talking about the challenges facing the agrarian sector, very urgent is the problem of those agrarians who are on the free territory of Ukraine, but their business is on the occupied territory. The parliament has passed a law before the new year that freezes the payments on the loans for this category of people, and this is very important. The law has not been passed yet in its entirety. This is very important for those people, and we expect very much that the parliament will support the initiative of the All-Ukrainian Agrarian Council, and there will be a freeze on the repayment for until the end of war and for a year after the war. What about demining? What about the territories that we demine? Is there a positive dynamics? Will we have more arable land now? I don't think so, because the financing is decreasing or has decreased. However, if we have a look at the process, quite a lot of manufacturers were not waiting for support and were demining territories on their own, at their own expense. Last year, the money for demining allocated from the state budget was amounted to 3 billion hryvnia. However, only $500,000 was used because we do not have enough specialists. And let's hope that we will have 1 billion. We have 1 billion hryvnia for demining this year, and let's hope that there will be some money from our foreign partners. And the new law also suggests that some people who have done this at their own expense will be partially compensated up to 80%. How eager the agrarians are to take part in this program. They are ready and they want to do this. However, what about the money? We had 3 billion hryvnia allocated last year. However, and there was enthusiasm at the initial stage. However, when they saw how this money was being distributed, the enthusiasm has faded. And now people are waiting for payments, repayments, for compensation for the demining that they were doing at their own expense. Thank you very much. Denis Marchuk, Deputy Head of the All-Ukrainian Agrarian Council, was with us. Follow our announcements. Thank you very much, and glory to Ukraine.